Don't pull your thing unless you came to bang. Bombs over Baghdad. Doo, 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 doo. Don't even bang unless you plan to hit something. Bombs over, you know the rest. Although it's not over
Great tune.
Baghdad. It's over Baghdad, but it's on the way to Iran. There is a big bombing or war or military action, depending on who you talk to, taking place. So we'll have to get to that, unfortunately. But I am your host, David. The bearded one across from me via computer is Gregory. Gregory, how you doing, my friend?
Living the blessed life that God has provided me, and I just hope I don't screw it up.
There's a lot going on as far as the war and all that good stuff. But first, I got to give a big shout out. I got to see your quote unquote number one fan, as you like to call her, this weekend as the BEAU Konazuski, and I'm sure I messed that up, team went and had their first tournament of the year, and let me just say, the boys played lights to the freaking out, son. They played
Very
lights
nice.
out. Did fantastic. We ended up winning 4 games. We played 2, got the number 1 seed, so we didn't have to go up early on a Sunday. We got to go in about 12 and then just play 2 games and play 1 game and go straight to the championship. And we went 4-0. And I believe we put up 34 runs, I think, in 4 games and only gave up 4. 4 runs over 4 games with in 8U baseball is pretty damn spectacular. And I got to say, I'm very proud of the boys. Want to give them a huge shout out. In fact, I don't know if I can find it now, but I would do the clapping. Here we go. There it is. I found it. I found it. Clap, clap, clap. Fantastic. Greg, it's been a minute since you've been in probably youth sports, but your youngest plays softball. Is that right? Or chose to take this year off?
Bailey played softball. Maddie's my tennis player. Man, I just keep thinking about like how much youth sports has changed since you and I. Like I
It's
saw the pictures
insane,
y'all posted over the weekend. I saw the rings and all. I mean, it is like,
bro.
God, I'd have loved that 35 years ago.
It is insane. Everybody comes. I mean, you got your wagons packed, and I used to make fun of people with wagons, and I'd be damned if I didn't get me a double decker wagon. I went all out, baby. Got to bring your wagon. Got to bring your chairs. This everybody's got a walk up song. There was no such thing as walk up songs when I was a kid. You barely got damn applause. Nobody hardly even came. But now there's walk up songs. Some of these, the youngest kids got the dirtiest music you've ever heard. You're like, I hope you don't listen to the rest of that song.
This was a couple of years back when the reality hit me. I was watching Bailey. It's probably her sophomore year, and so she was actually playing varsity and junior varsity at the time. And I noticed during a junior varsity game that in between innings, they're turning off and on the LED lights. They're doing light shows, and and I know this is going to sound sexist, and I apologize. This is for a junior varsity girls softball game, and they're doing walkout songs, LED
Yeah.
light, and I mean, it's a whole production now. And I'm sitting there thinking, God, I played out at shortstop where we had grass growing through the dirt, like
Yeah.
much less all this stuff.
I made fun of it for years, and my other friend Adam Whiting, who wants to come on actually and talk about travel baseball and how much it costs and all that stuff, which that's up there too. But I laughed at the fact that we had walk up songs and all that. I was like, that is damn ridiculous. Now I look forward to not only hearing everybody's, but picking my sons. And Brooke is the OG when it comes to picking music for the boys. She does a great job getting them some just banging walk up songs. I'm
What
very
would
proud
yours
of her.
be?
Mine would be Why Can't We Be Friends? Why can't we be No, it would be a Tupac DMX type, something very inappropriate that you couldn't play. But if I had to guess, it would be something DMX, the intro that Tyson did when he came out to fight Peter McNeely. Man, that was freaking doom doom. But you only got 15 to 20 seconds. It's pretty tough.
Yeah, I would. Man, my initial reaction has always been Mariano Rivera and Enter Sandman is just,
That
but
is good.
I can't, I couldn't even pretend to carry his jock. So that's for
No,
Mariano and Mariano only. He's the greatest to ever do it. He can keep Enter
that
Sandman.
works in a closer role, not necessarily a walkout though.
I think I'd
Like
go
for
with Welcome
Matt.
to the Jungle. The intro
Yeah.
to Welcome to a Jungle, as
You're
I
in the
step up,
jungle, baby.
that would get me geeked up and ready to roll.
Was it the program? Remember the movie Program with Latimer and all that? And they think they play
Yeah.
Welcome to the Jungle. My gosh, does that don't get you freaking pumped? I don't know what will. Latimer was a great character. Then you had the other linebacker, I can't remember when they spit in each other's mouth. I'm like, "Okay, that's a bit much," but that team, put them up there, son. Name of all-time movie teams, you ain't beating the program. Was it the Eastern Wolves or something? I can't
Yeah,
remember.
all I remember about the program, and a great movie, one of the good sports flicks. It came out about the same time as Rudy, and
Mm.
the iconic part of that is I remember probably sophomore junior year of high school for me about that time, and we had a big football game, and our football team. I didn't play football. Our football team reportedly went out to see Rudy before the big game, and the
Oh,
other team went out and saw the
y'all got
program,
the shit
and
beat
the
out
other
of you.
team beat us by about 4 touchdowns.
That's not even a close to a
We
Rudy. I
we
love
had the
Rudy.
feel good story. They had the athletes.
I love Rudy, but I mean, listen, Rudy, when he's on that bench and he finally gets into Notre Dame, oh man, I mean that gets you right in the old. I mean, I tear up just thinking about it.
The best
But
part about Rudy is he
definitely not
got the
gonna watch
sack
him to
against
walk
Georgia
out.
Tech.
They did get the sack against Tech, old number 40. But and apparently Joe Montana didn't like that movie because he said that is a bit it's far-fetched, which is a movie, it's a feel-good story. That they tried to make Rudy sound like better than what he was, or not better, but more heart and all that. It was like he was not that way. It was but he made a living off of being a motivational speaker off of it, and I still love the movie. I was one of the ones I bought on DVD. Big fan. But yeah, but the BE8U team showed out, son. Sutton pitched pretty good, but we had a kid came in named Tucker. I think he threw 63 pitches, 54 of them strikes. I'm like, bro, he came up. He's one of those. He's like, I'm gonna throw it. You can hit it, but it's coming. It's gonna be across the plate.
I tell you, at 8, you playing 4 games and only giving up 4 runs just from a pitching and errors and defensive standpoint, that's incredible. Like, I mean, if the other team is just making contact, it's hard not to, at that level,
Dude,
not have.
it was our first tournament of this year so far, and it's probably the best defensive games we've had in a long time, especially when it comes to home plate. Because we had a play where they hit one in right field. The ball got past, Sutton picked it up, threw it home, and our catcher, Benjamin, with the best blocking of a plate I've ever seen, jumps up, grabs the ball, and immediately comes right down and blocks the plate. And I'm like, this is the best 8U catching play I've seen ever, probably. And hell, it happened 2 more times. We had 3 different plays at the plate with, I believe, 3 different catchers. So they showed out, man. It was quite impressive. I got to give them props. And everybody was like, when are you going to talk about us on the podcast? Well, here I am, Andy. I'm talking because that was a damn showing, and I'm ready to play again.
That's awesome, man. That's, having 2 daughters, I've missed the travel ball, I missed all that stuff, but I've got some nephews that have gone through it, and it's a whole different world out there, and they take that stuff seriously, and I know the finance of repercussions of travel
Woo,
baseball is huge.
let me
But no,
tell
that's
you.
awesome. Maybe we can set up a live remote one Saturday from one of your boys' tournaments and have some fun with it.
Yeah. The bad part is I love it. And it's like God said, look, I'm going to give you 3 sons, but they're not going to like sports. They're not going to watch Sports Center with you. They're not going to be into baseball. They're not going to be. So I force them to play, and they do it not despite me, but they do it because of me. And they don't want to do it. They don't like it, but damn it, they're doing it for me. So I appreciate them doing that. I ain't got but like maybe a season left of travel ball, possibly. But uh, so God threw a joke on me. He's like, I'm gonna give you 3 boys, but they ain't gonna love sports. So that part hurts a little bit. But it's fun, man. I love it. The other boys out there do love it, and it's great seeing the competition. But it does get a little ridiculous, which we'll might go into a later episode with Adam. But that unfortunately is the good news about this past weekend. The bad news about this past weekend are good, depending on who you are. If you're an Iranian woman, you're kind of happy about it. U.S. and Israel combined to go bombing of Iran. And look, I'm not going to sit here and tell you I'm a Middle East expert. It would take me 3 tries to probably pick out Iran on a map. But it is the fact of the matter is they took out the Ayatollah Khamenei, I think is his name. And how do you feel about us going into? I say us, but it's us and Israel going into Iran and trying to make changes over there.
I'm gonna utter a phrase that's one of the hardest phrases for somebody like me or us to utter, and I'm gonna tell you, David, I don't know. I think that's the only way to be genuine and honest right now. Um, do I believe that the Iranian regime under the leadership of the Ayatollah was a bad thing? Yeah, absolutely. Am I glad that he is gone? I think it's better for the entire world that he is no longer in charge, and I'm hopeful and optimistic that this can be a good thing. I just think to this point where it's such a fresh thing, we're just at the beginning phases of this. If this time next week we're still talking about what's going on over there, then we've got a whole different level of conversation going on. But if this time next week we're talking about, hey, we're already getting troops back home and this thing's kind of wrapping up and we took care of the mission and everything went the way it was projected, then I don't know how you say it's a bad thing. I think right now we just don't know. And the truth of it and the terrifying part of it is you've got millions upon billions of people affected by these decisions, and there's only probably 25 to 50 people on the entire planet that actually have the real facts, the real truth, and the adequate information to know what's really going on, know the reasons behind it, know why we're there, what we're doing, and what the outcome's supposed to be. None of us know, but we're all trying to project it. If you really have a strong opinion on this, I believe you're coming at it with some preconceived ideas that may or may not be accurate.
I gotta admit, I hope by next week, like you said, that I am starting out the podcast singing Toby Keith's "We Put Your Boot in Your Ass is the American Way," which I hope is what we're singing. But I don't know because Trump has already came out and said it could take up to 4 weeks. And if you know Trump, everything he says, no matter what it is, he says, about 2 weeks, about 2 weeks. Everything's about 2 weeks, and it's never about 2 weeks. It's always obviously longer. Rarely is it shorter. So if he's saying 2 weeks, if he's saying 4 weeks, I'm definitely expecting it to be longer. And as of now, I believe there's 6 American soldiers that have been killed. And even with the technology that we have as far as today, I just don't see a way that if we're if we're going to do a regime change, which I hope we are not, but there's no way to not have boots on the ground. And that's the big, catchphrase that you don't want is boots on the ground. I don't see how that can happen.
I don't,
Can't
and
happen,
we
rather.
can we can hope and pray that we can find a way to extricate ourselves from it before it gets to that level. But the analogy I keep coming up with, and the only way I can try to make sense of this is to try to connect some dots and get it onto something a little more on my level. We know that the leadership of Iran hates Israel and hates us. They routine like their
That
ethos is death to America, death to
absolutely.
Israel. Okay,
Yes.
that is not up for
100%.
debate. The moment they have the capability to inflict damage upon us or Israel and think they can, they will. They would. That is not up for debate. Don't come at me if you don't at least agree with that part because we're not even going to have a conversation. So knowing that, man, I try to bring this as close to home as possible. David, if you were in my neighborhood and I believed unequivocally that you wanted to harm myself and my family, brother, if I can come take care of that shit in your house or at least in my driveway before you get here, that's where I'm going to come do it. And I think to some degree, I know not everybody wants to believe it, but I think the truth of the matter is whether they were a quote unquote imminent threat, whether they were on our doorstep ready to attack, no, probably not. But they were working towards it. I believe, based on the information I have, and again, we all know the information presented is not 100% accurate. I do
Neither
think we
one.
did some severe damage back in the summer to their nuclear, but I think they were trying to rebuild it. I think they have been on a mission for 50 plus years to try to develop some sort of military capability, some sort of army that they could inflict damage upon us in Israel because that is their religion. That is all they believe. That is how they believe they get to heaven or their version of heaven. So if you know that about somebody, I get the Christianity part of us says, "Hey, we don't want violence. We turn the other cheek." But I don't think God or Jesus would expect us to just sit here and wait for them to develop the nuke and then go attack.
I mean, I am by no means a biblical scholar, but those who say God would never smite people, you apparently didn't read the Bible that I've gandered through
Yeah,
a
ask
time or two
Noah.
because he will put it on you if he has to, if he feels necessary. But like you said back in June when we did bomb the Iranian nuclear site, of course, in typical Trump fashion, he hypes it up to where he says knocks them back years. possibly decades as far as the nuclear possibilities. Well, clearly that's not the case because, like you said, I'm pretty sure they were still working on it. I don't know if we did the damage that we said we might have done. Otherwise, I don't know why we're going back at it. But that is the objective: is to stop them from having nuclear weapons and missiles. Are nuclear weapons or are the missiles gonna reach America? They don't have that capability as of now, but I don't want them to have it. Israel, I can understand why they are upset or they're taking more of the offense on that because, yeah, they do have missiles that can reach Israel and have and will shoot them shoot at Israel. I mean, my
Well, they've
gosh.
already I mean, their reaction to the attack shows all you need to know about they literally it was like a three-year-old. They just started flinging out missiles in every direction they could
Yeah.
think of as a
They're
reaction,
like, just
just
put it
trying
all out
yeah.
there.
And so, I mean,
Yeah.
that's who we're dealing with. I mean, it is what it is. It's a war is never a good thing, but I believe based on what I have seen to this point, and I said I'm going to take a wait and see approach, but I am taking a wait and see approach with more of an optimistic attitude. Up to this point, I believe Donald Trump is doing things that a lot of folks just don't understand, but I believe he's moving pieces on the board to try to build us a better future. I can see it. I don't understand all the parts of it. I'm not as smart as those guys are. I don't know. I don't have all the information they have, but I believe in my heart, and maybe it's just because that's what I want to believe. I believe he is doing what he thinks is best for the American interest for the long run.
He came he's he's came out and stopped if based on depending on who you listen to, 8 to 9 wars, and if you wanna say he's starting this one, that's still a very good track record as far as 9 to 1 of stopping compared to starting, if that's what the
Yeah, but
case you
can
wanna
you
be.
even really say he started this? I mean, again, if you've come down to my house and attacked me 7 times in the last 3 months, if I come up to your house and start attacking you, am I really starting that war?
Well, I'm taking it from the liberal's point
I
of
know.
view. I'm trying to be devil's advocate somewhat in that, and Rubio kinda came out and said that. I mean, I know the saying is, on was it talking about football, you say the best offense is a good defense. In this instance, it's a good defense is a good offense, if that's the case, the way we're looking at it, because 'cause we're kinda taking it to him and, he Rubio, his wording was a little off. He tried to make it sound as if they knew that Israel was gonna attack Iran, and if they attack Iran, then they're gonna come back at both Israel and us, so we're gonna go ahead and attack them before Israel does or while Israel does, so we don't get attacked by Iran. It was a weird way that he put it, but I understood the gist of what he was trying to say.
Yeah, and I get it, and obviously the folks that are as anti-Trump as they are, and obviously that makes them anti whatever this is. They're going to point to that. And go, why is Israel dictating what we? I don't think that's the way he meant it. I think what he was saying is, and again, you could make the argument that we should have the right, and we absolutely have the power to tell Israel, no, you're not going to attack them till we tell you you can. But let's also go I mean, if somebody's routinely coming at you, I think at some point we're gonna let Israel have their thing, and if they're going, we might as well go ahead and go with them and finish the job so we don't leave anything left to come back at us.
I'd be lying if I said it doesn't look like, oh, Benjamin Netanyahu is kinda running things here. I mean,
That's
I
because you listen to
just
too much Tucker.
maybe I listened to a little too much Tucker, and I was gonna even mention the fact that I hate to keep agreeing with I don't hate because I actually like Margie Taylor Greene. She's going very strong now, but I agree with her. I don't really wanna get involved in any war that it does not directly affect America, but that depends on who you ask as far as if it directly affects or not, because there's gonna be incels that come in through America and try to attack us and
They're probably already here.
Iran, yeah, I mean, we had an open border for, I don't know, 4 years. I don't know if you noticed that or not, people. So, we think we all just hate Hispanics. No, that's not the case. Anybody can go to Mexico. Anybody can come up from Mexico, including people who are trying to kill every one of us. So, that's part of the issue. We had an open borders, and who knows who's in here, which hence why we have an ICE taking place right now.
Not at the
But
moment, they're defunded.
well, yeah, that's true. Still on that lockdown. How about that? But Trump said, "Take that. I'll just bomb somebody else." But look, Marjorie Taylor Greene made a lot of sense in what she said. I agree with her in the fact that I don't want to be involved in other wars. If I'm being a critic, that's something I would say. But at the same time, you can't have this whole pro women's march and all that and talk about we don't care about women's rights. Mainly, this is affecting the Iranian women more than anybody. They are being such slaves is a harsh word, but it's very similar. They are being held down and protest. I mean, we're talking numbers based on who you listen to 30 to 40,000 people that were killed from protesting the Ayatollah. I mean, and then Trump called him out and was like, "Hey, you need to stop." You know, he gave him a fair warning of what needs to happen. That did not happen, so we had to call his bluff. He almost had no choice but to go bombing because I believe Obama did that one time, and then they called his bluff, and he didn't do nothing about it. So,
Well, and that's a point that, the direct impact of this has yet to be determined. I think the more indirect impact, which is kind of what you were hinting at there, I think that's pretty obvious already. I think with, with what happened in Iran over the summer, with what just happened in Venezuela, with what's happening right now, look, I'm not saying I'm a fan of it. I'm not saying this is what I desire to be the current situation, but I am at least willing to admit I feel like we're standing up to a point now where the rest of the world is finally taking notice. And I believe we are probably a lot more hated now than we were in previous times. But I believe we are a lot more respected now. And I hate to use the word feared, but to some degree, there are a lot of evil countries out there, and I want them to fear us. I want them to know that if you mess with us or you mess with our allies, you may deal with the full force of the American military. And from what I'm seeing right now, you don't want that smoke.
you have to have that bring that fear amongst people, and, Biden and Kamala, when talking about it, clearly said, "Don't." So all we're gonna say is "don't." I'm like, "Don't nobody believe anything you say." This whole "don't," like, you have to show peace through, strength is, I believe, a Reagan quote,
Mhm.
and it is so true. And it's like I said, I hate to break it down to the simple fact of, like, raising kids, but if you're gonna say, "Hey, you're gonna be in trouble if you do this," and then they do it, you have to a lot of times we take iPads away on the weekends. We only give it to them for the weekends, and if they act up, we have to take it away from them. And hell, it hurts me more than anything because then they want to talk to me and it'd be annoying. But hell, you got to stand strong in this. And you have to, if you call something out and they cross that line, so to speak, you have to have action or else it's going to just keep on and on.
Yeah, and I think the real public service announcement that I would like to, put out there is just for any of us right now. Let's just be very aware that ourselves included, David and I have very limited information. We have opinions, but very limited information. Whatever you're listening to, whatever you're digesting, please just understand that so much of what's out there is misinformation. It's propaganda. It is absolutely trying to get you to lean one way. Stick to the things you know to be true. And that's not just regarding this situation over in Iran. This is everything. Stick to what you know to be factually true and try to make decisions and try to form your opinions based on that. And then when you can't know something for yourself, consider the source.
Yeah.
Consider the source.
Try not to come at it from I hate the president, therefore I'm for this. Cause I even saw somebody on Facebook, a girl who's clearly liberal, clearly far left leaning quite a bit and hates Trump that said, she's praying for the people of Iran that we're bombing. I'm like, you do know that if you were over there, they would put you in a barrel, whatever the little whole thing, and cover you up. They would hate you. Just so you know, it's kind of like the old gays for for
Hmm.
Hamas or whatever that they when they protest. I'm like, you know, they would throw you off a bridge, right? Like, and even in Iran, they will throw you off buildings if you're gay. So any gay person, especially of Iranian descent, should probably be ecstatic right now that they're starting to go. But who's behind Ayatollah Khamenei? Because it's probably deep in a bunch of radical crazies that's going to take his place. And that's the sad part.
It is, and I think that's obviously the biggest unknown. And obviously, I don't think we should have any expectation, even if there is a concrete, solid plan that we can put into effect. I don't think we should be sharing it. So I think it's fair that none of us know what that plan is, and that Trump and Rubio and Hegseth aren't telling us what the plan is, and they're
Yeah.
saying, "Hey, we're just going to have to." But I also think there's some realistic, intel that there may not be a real plan. It may just be, hey, we're going to do our part. Our part was to get rid of the bad guys, and then let them figure it out on their own. And at some point, you know, I think maybe more and more we could kind of get back to that as an aspect of the way we should approach more things in the world. Is just let people figure stuff out, because so many times you tell people to do something a certain way, and if that's not the way that they can be successful, then that might not work. So let's let Iran figure this out. We don't need to come in there and try to tell them how to do it. Let's get rid of the bad guys and then see if some of the good guys can step up and make something good happen.
When all this happened in 2002, 2003, when we were going into war in Afghanistan, Iraq, it seemed like we war with everybody, every damn body in the Middle East, and we would just destroy these people quickly, it seemed, for the most part. You couldn't get through the mountains, but we would destroy them, bomb them, go crazy, and then spend a lot of time, money, boots on the ground, so to speak, building back those regimes for them, basically, building back those communities. And I'm like, no, bro, like, I hate to be a dick, but if we're gonna go in and bust something up, we're gonna dip out, and then you gotta figure out a way to get it back right. And I know that's harsh, but I'm sorry. You're basically building back for people to come take over the same shit you're doing.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that, and I'm hoping we've kind of turned a corner with some of that. I genuinely think from back, I mean, who knows, 40, 50 years, all the way up through Obama and even Biden to some degree. I don't know that Republican or Democrat mattered. I think it was all just trying to keep us involved all over the world. And it was more from trying to keep the economy moving, keep everything flowing. And I think we've come to the realization that that's not going to work. The whole globalism, not like it's not going to work. You have to focus at smaller areas. That's why nations work. That's why states work. You have to have municipalities like that. I just don't think we can be one global world order, which is I think what a lot of the folks in charge, not only here but around the world, were trying to accomplish for 30 or 40 years.
Yeah, I mean, I don't hate to sound like John F. Kennedy because I did like John F. Kennedy the more I read about him, but I think Eisenhower started it. John F. Kennedy warned of it, which is a lot of conspiracy theories is the reason that he got taken out was supposedly because of the his being against the military industrial complex. And it seems to be the case as long as war is as profitable as it is for some, don't be surprised when we have a lot of war. And I mean, I don't want to be the Dick Cheney types talking about Halliburton, but the man got paid and his company sure enough got paid when this whole funny, like I was talking about building stuff back. If you bomb stuff, guess who's there to help put it back or make the weapons or put up latrines and things like that? Halliburton was a big part of that and got paid for it. So I was shocked. No wonder we stayed there so long. I'm just saying.
Well, well, I would imagine, and let's keep in mind on both houses of Congress, we have a lot of folks who are far wealthier than they should be off the salaries that they get paid. And I suspect if you were to dig through, I would expect defense contractors and pharmaceuticals to be at the root of a lot of that money. And so you can't be real surprised when we've got 47 shots on our vaccine schedule and we seem to end up in war areas all the damn time because the folks that we keep putting in the houses and making decisions, that's what's fattening their pockets.
I've just now started the Fauci book by Robert F. Kennedy, well, the audio book. Look, I love RFK Jr., but thank goodness he's not narrating it because
That
that
was the first question in my mind. I was going, I can't listen to it if it's
that
him.
would that would be the hard part. And it's sad, it's not his fault. But and I'm going over this whole situation as far as the vaccines and all that, and how Fauci knew basically everything from the get go. It was not no bat, and he basically lied. Okay, but that's maybe another show. But anyways, the fact that they were paying people, doctors included, if you have every one of your patients gets vaccinated, then you automatically get $1,000,000, $2,000,000 or something like that. Well, then no shit, they're going to try to prescribe it. I mean, much like these old pharmaceutical drug issues when they told us that Viking and all that. No, it's not addictive. This is good for you. Yeah, yeah, because you're getting a trip somewhere and they're paying you to to push that shit. Oh, that's
Well,
another
if it,
neither here
and
nor there.
we could go on a whole different rabbit hole talking about the whole Fauci COVID mess, but that is one of those that for our generation, if and it's getting close to where you're going to have to just say this is how it went down. If Anthony Fauci gets through that whole thing without any sort of punishment or repercussions, then I'm telling you that's just one more strike on the level of hope I have for this country. Because, and again, I think that's the core of a lot of our real issues is all of us normal folks see something like that and go, if he can get away with that, that gives you a sense of entitlement of going, well, shit, why am I following all the, like, why do I have to do these things?
Sure, he's basing it off what the Sackler brothers or Sackler family that did all those pharmaceutical painkillers that got away with it. I mean, they had to pay like $2 billion. I'm like, yeah, but they made 8 billion. Who wouldn't make
Hmm.
that trade? I would. They should be in jail rotting right now. They shouldn't be out. They purposely knew that that shit was addictive and still pushed it and didn't even care. It's hidden. There's documentary after documentary. But we're just like, oh, it's a bad time. Somebody got addicted. Well, maybe it's not that person's fault. I mean, my
Well,
God, I
and
know a lot of people who got addicted that you would never think would be addicted to pain medication, ever. But it's because it was pushed on them, I'm sure, over and over, or they got one little injury, they got an elbow pain, and you gave them the strongest damn painkillers possible, got them hooked on it, and then hell, next thing you know, they're blowing some dude and behind a 7-Eleven to get their fix.
yeah, I have no delusions of being any sort of tough guy, but on the random occasions where I've had a couple of surgical procedures done, I don't even take the pain meds they give me for that reason. I know I have a very addictive personality. I know that I have struggled with addictions in the past, and I'm just terrified because something that easy is, I mean, that's an addiction you can hide pretty easily, and that's the last
Yeah.
thing I need.
I've taken I when I had I think I had my wisdom teeth out and I took it and it made me just god awful sick, and I was almost grateful. I was like, "Thank God," because I do not want it to be something that I would love and get hooked on because like you said, I have somewhat of an addictive personality in some things. But I did have a kidney stone one time, and I don't know what they gave me. It was some kinda shot, tramadol, something like that,
Toradol.
and Toradol. Boy, that was nice. Like, I have felt no pain, baby. I was like, "Alright, this is good. Take this home with me." But thankfully, they did not give it to me. But you get I heard a jingle. Is
You
your
did. You
washing
heard my
machine
dryer
done?
going off.
Dryer's done. You have an LG, I see.
Yep,
That's
that's
I
it.
knew it. I knew it. I thought I was like, "Did I put clothes in the dryer? Damn it."
Nope, that's me. I got laundry to do.
Boy, I don't know how we got from, baseball to Iranian war to Fauci, all over the place. We might as well just finish it off talking a little bit about Hillary and Bill Clinton going on to get a congressional testimony. That sounds about right. Getting questioned basically about their connections with the Epstein situation.
Yeah,
You
I got to
see
admit,
anything about this?
I've caught just a couple of short clips. So I'm gonna need you to fill me in, and then I'll I'll see what I think about it.
Well, I wish I would. I'm gonna give it one more episode of things going smoothly as far as downloading before I try to get introduce clips into it again. But I wish I did have a few clips that we could show that came because they originally, they wasn't going to come. They claimed like, oh, we're going to come, but they weren't coming until they threatened them with basically being arrested, which is what happened to Steve Bannon. He got arrested because he refused to come, and they were like, hey, if you don't want to come, then it's all right. We'll possibly do that. Then all of a sudden, they're like, okay, well, we'll come, but we want it to be open or be public, I guess. Which I still don't understand why the Republicans did not want it to be public. I mean, they ended up videoing it, and it came out later. But I would have loved to have sit and watched it on CNN as they were doing it, and had all of them talking. I thought it'd been great.
I have no idea. There's no rhyme or reason to half the shit that goes on up there. That I mean, it's all just procedural theater as far as I'm concerned.
Yeah. But I'm like you. I haven't seen a ton because, like I said, baseball took place this weekend, and also now everything's back to the war. So it's almost like, hey, let's cover this up. I mean, the timing is weird, is all I'm saying. But they spoke with Hillary Clinton first, and I guess Lauren Boebert snapped a pic and made and threw it out there so everybody could see of her in the giving her testimony. And boy, that pissed her off. The lawyer came out and said something, and then Hillary went full Hillabeast on them, boy. She was just snapping when
That
it was
almost sounds staged.
and I don't possibly, and I don't really understand. Now she invited Ghislaine to the wedding of her daughter, I guess, but I don't know why we necessarily brought Hillary in because I don't think Hillary, not that she's a victim by no means, but I mean, Bill's the one that we should be worried about, which he came in the next day, but I don't get why we brought in Hillary first.
The only clip I saw, and I'm sure this was taken out of context, so let me preface that, was Bill looking through a photo album and looking like he was enjoying the pictures of the lawyer yanking the book away from him. Like, Bill, this ain't the time to reminisce about the fun times on the island.
Yeah,
That's all
well,
I saw.
I'll get back to I mean, we'll go to the bill thing, but I will say I give my wife somewhat credit because if you think I'm hardcore right wing, you have no idea. Brooke is so far right, it ain't even funny. She's almost back around. She is hardcore, but even she was like, you know what? Hillary came out afterwards and gave a little speech. She was like, Hillary looks pretty good to be, I don't know, what is she, 80, something like that? Like I had to give her props. I was like, well, damn, she does look pretty good right there. I don't know what it is. I've seen her look a whole lot worse. That when she
Mhm.
was passing out trying to get into that van that time, but she looked pretty good to be her age. And on the flip side, God bless him, Bill Clinton, my man's struggling, son. He was showing him drinking the coffee or drinking the water. Looked like damn Michael J. Fox, man. It was kind of sad, which he's had all kind of heart issues and everything issues, but
I mean,
hard living. But
I'll admit at 47, I've started to get the shakes a little bit. My hands ain't near as steady as they used to be.
no, but then it's almost like sad to see somebody because, like him or not, Bill Clinton was enthralling when it comes to speaking. He would, and Obama's similar in that ways. If he talks, I'm going to at least listen. And Bill Clinton is incredibly smart. I know he's in Arkansas. You know, he has a stereotype of Arkansas being dumb, but that dude is a Rhodes Scholar. He is a genius on every topic, and including getting into women's panties, apparently, because he was getting it done. But them coming out and giving this whole like we're here to protect women and all that, I'm like, well, what about those women that you came out against, Juanita Broderick and all them back in the day? You didn't want to protect those women when they came out because you did have an affair with them. Obviously, everybody knows that, but you attacked them as if you didn't. And Lord knows what we did to poor Monica.
Well, I think that is, this is just an example and a microcosm of what the underlying issue is we are blessed in our society to have access to so much evidence, so much information, so much documentation and proof of things and historical videos. But then that also puts us in a position where we know everybody that's producing everything that's put out there is lying to us. And none of us really know the truth. And I think that's really at the core of it. I think that's why so to speak, our world is kind of crumbling right now. It's because nobody's operating on just the truth anymore because none of us know what the truth is on hardly anything. And that is terrifying.
We don't know the truth, and people's ideas of what is the truth seems to change based on who's in office and whatnot. Because, like we said, the Clintons are, against people coming out against high political figures when they're the high political figures as far as women and all that. And
I bet they
but
supported E. Jean Carroll.
yeah, they supported like crazy that, pro women, women, women. And she's about as loony as they come. I mean, just take a look at a few of her clips, is all I'm going to say. But And I remember, like, thinking, because they say that the Republican Party has turned into the Democratic Party has turned into the Republican Party of the Civil War days, and then it made another change around we always joke John F. Kennedy would be a Republican now based on what things were in the past, and you're like, "How in the world did that happen?" Like, I don't understand how that could if you wanna say it happened, how it happened in front of your eyes. But boy, think about the fact this whole Epstein situation. How many years were we pushing that? And they even brought it up the whole Pizzagate conspiracy that the Republicans or QAnon, as they want to call it, was pushing it back in the day, and how crazy it was that they had an island where people were going. That was a Republican or right wing talking point, and all of a sudden now it's apparently a left wing or a liberal talking point.
Well, and there again, the bottom line of the issue is whether it's right, left, Democrat, or Republican, you run into a fundamental societal issue when the government routinely lies to you and does everything they can to hide things and keep secrets, and then wants you to trust them. It's not a
Yeah.
good recipe.
Exactly, and, they were talking about the Pizzagate to Hillary while she was being, questioned about it, and she was like, "There's some crazy QAnon conspiracy about Pizzagate and this and that, where supposedly you're ordering kids and all that." I'm like, "Hey, chick, ain't nothing crazy no more."
Mm-mm.
There's been so much shit that's came out and been proven to be right in some of these Epstein files and the thought processes. I won't say with 100% certainty anything is not possible because there's a lot of crazy shit that's came out, and so that whole Pizzagate thing is not as crazy today as it was back in the day,
No,
5,
and I
6
think
years
that's
ago.
well, and I think that's part of why, everybody's so passionate and, borderline, like, fighting all the time is because I think we're all just desperate to find some sort of truth we can cling hold to and go, "I believe this, I know this is true, and I can build off of it," because we just don't have much of that going on right now.
I mean, like I said, how many times we talk about Alex Jones being crazy, which are some crazy things, but at this point, I'm like, they're turning the frogs gay. They might have been turning the frogs gay because he's been proven right about a lot of things. Not necessarily Sandy Hook, but he's been proven a lot about a lot of things.
Well, there is
Right about
estrogen
a
in the
lot.
water, and testosterone levels are going down
I
for
mean, the
something.
frogs are gay. I've seen them banging them, ribbit, ribbit. I mean, they're jumping on top of each other. I've seen it a time or two. But it's ironic that those, remember when they did the State of the Union for the Democrats or whatever, and they brought out the Oregon frogs or something. I'm like, well, that that tracks. Just saying. But Bill, they did talk to him a little bit about the chick in the hot tub, and he obviously played coy on a lot of that. He had no idea what was going on, and I don't know why that girl was massaging my back. I'm like, okay, Bill, easy, bro.
Well, I mean, the thing is that people will support that testimony. People will go, "There's no proof he did anything." I mean, everything is just so partisan. People's opinions are formed before they ever get anything near the truth or facts of a story.
It's very, but it is very sad to see your presidents that you grew up with getting frail and getting at such a age like that, which is even more amazing that I'm almost positive that Trump is older than Clinton and looks like a damn superstar as far as energy wise when it comes to Clinton. Although he does have some little rash thing he's got going on that they keep pointing out. I'm like, guys, he's fucking 80. Okay. They keep throwing
Well,
out the 25th Amendment. I'm like, if it didn't work the last president, it'll never happen.
of all the hypocritical things that they can throw out as, I mean, anything they're talking about his age and his stamina and his
Exactly.
physical competence or his ability to cognitively, then at that point you go, okay, look. Maybe there's a chance some of us might have forgot about some of the stupid shit from like 12, 15 years ago, but that was literally like less than a year and a half ago. We were dealing with
No,
some dude. We were dealing with a vegetable in the White House.
yes.
So please don't come to me with, oh, he's rambling. His speeches are incoherent. No, I listen to them. They are not eloquent, but they make sense.
I won't hear a single word you say because when it comes to somebody that didn't want to call out Biden, but is trying to call out Trump now, and that includes you, Jake Tapper, because I did read your book, and you basically came out and said, "We made a mistake." No, motherfucker, we didn't make a mistake. You made a mistake. We all saw it. Y'all just didn't want to air it.
And let's not kid ourselves, David. They did not make a mistake. They made a choice.
Exactly, and they also making a choice because the one clip that you won't see on CNN, which I watch every night, like I said, Abby Phillips, although she's starting to annoy me, is when Clinton came out and said, "The president, we spoke, and he had not talked to me anything that he knew about this whole situation with Epstein," basically backing up Trump's claim that he didn't know about it, or that he did know about it, but didn't participate in any of it. But they won't show that clip.
It wouldn't matter. Nobody would believe it.
Nope. And but he did try to throw in there that the fact that they had a falling out via a land deal, and not the fact that Trump found out about him liking younger girls and all that. Listen, if they're 18 though, if they're 19, I'm not saying it's a good look, but it's legal. So who knows? I don't know. If
Well, I ain't
the
gonna say nothing because at 35, 36 years old, I fell in love with a 23-year-old. So
well, that's I'm just saying, I don't even want to say it because it makes me sound bad. Yes, he's a pedophile, but he wasn't. When you think pedophile, you think, you know, 6, 7, 8 year olds. These were actually girls that were like teenage girls. Still horrible, still illegal if they're underage, and still should be hung from the highest tree you could find. He at least because they keep showing the pictures of him with like little babies or whatever. I'm like, he hasn't known to be with babies or whatnot. I don't know. I sound like Megan Kelly right now. I'm not justifying it by no means, but I'm saying if I
no, but
went
I
over
think
to his island and there's a bunch of 19, 21 year olds running around, I wouldn't think nothing either. I'd be like, well, hell, they're legal. I mean, I'm just out here with a bunch of 20-year olds.
yeah, I mean, it is. I hate saying it because it's a terrible thing to even have the words come out of your mouth. But I think any of us are being disingenuous if we don't say morally and ethically. Most of us feel like, yeah, there's a difference between a 16, 17-year old or an 8 or 9-year old. Like, I'm
I mean,
sorry, it's still illegal and it's
and I
still
know what
wrong,
you're
but there is a
saying, and I'm
difference.
sure somebody will hear it, yeah, say it and be like, "They're justified." That's not what we're saying.
No, I've seen 16 or 17-year-olds that could pass for 23 or 24, and I'm saying there's
That's kind of
situations
my
where things
point.
happen.
You
It's
may not
different.
know. Even if Clinton if it was the girl was 17 and a half and Clinton's getting a, uh, massage from her, she could have been 18 and a half and he wouldn't have known, is all I'm saying. But,
Yeah, that's the point. I
obviously,
mean,
you
that's
go over there and
it's
they're
different.
young, but I don't know. We better get out of here before we start getting
Yeah.
too far down a rabbit hole when it
Yeah,
comes
if
to
that
that.
if that grenade doesn't blow up in my lap, I don't need any more.
No. Well, that's it. Another show in the books, kind of a little quickie. We'll try to get back soon. Greg, I'm getting a lot of feedback from people. I'm loving it. And I'm putting the clips out, working really great. And I will say, because I say that all the time, but whomever Greg is referring to, and I'm talking to you, Wesley McCard, as well, that thinks Greg's team will beat mine pretty easily and not even close, clearly did not understand the assignment. You got to go matchup for matchup. Okay. I would have took Jordan. It's not the top players at each position. It's a matchup situation. Okay. I could have easily said Jordan, Kobe, check. No, you got to pick based on who they pick. So whoever that fool is that said that they would beat that your team would beat mine easily, stop listening to the show. Just kidding. Do not. We need every one listener we got.
Yeah, I don't turn off any of our 3 listeners. We need all of them to keep paying attention. David, it just sounds like sour grapes, man. Losers always make excuses. They always come back with some argument.
Justification is what it is. Wesley gonna
Brian
give
was
me his.
right. Wes was right. I mean, Wes didn't Wes wasn't he a sports writer for a newspaper? Like, guy knows sports. If he
It
said I
was
win, I
Thomaston Times. It was Thomaston Times.
hometown, brother.
I'm just saying. He does want to be on the show. He's chomping at the bit. But he put the top 3 at each position. I'm like, that's not what we were doing. That's not what we're doing. It was in a comparison situation. Greg didn't have anybody to bring the ball up. Magic Johnson's gonna put clamps on anybody to try to bring it up. Kobe and Michael are fighting over the ball, and we're gonna put clamps on LeBron with Dennis Rodman. Charles Barkley's gonna be falling down, racing the damn Labetta or whatever that ref is.
So what I'm hearing is you're giving a lot of validation and vindication for why your team compete, and I don't have to say a word because I've got the players.
You got Jordan. That's the only reason I'll say you got Jordan. Jordan finds a way, which he did again. 3 NASCAR races, 3 wins by the same guy who's the Jordan guy. I can't remember his name.
And that
Reddick
touches on
something.
one of my least favorite posters on X is, and I was a fan of his back then. Robert Griffin III has gone down the likes of Jamel Hill and Ryan Clark, and everything is race.
Started
Well,
out the other way.
Robert Griffin III is now saying that Michael Jordan and his driver are the best thing to happen to auto racing in like hundreds of years. And I just want to go, why is that? Why is that the best thing that's happened? There's only one reason: black owner,
Well,
black driver.
no, it's not Bubba Wallace doing it. It's the other
It's
guy. It's
not
a white kid. No, it's a little white kid.
good.
Reddick or something. No, if it was Bubba Wallace, boy, you better
I just
believe that'd
assume
be.
because that's the way they make everything.
No, it was not Bubba Wallace. No. In fact, Bubba Wallace, he was up there in the Daytona, but ended up wrecking there towards the end. He tried to go up. Not I'm nowhere near a NASCAR aficionado, but he went up to go up high, I believe, or maybe down low, and nobody went with him and nobody pushed him. I don't think he's very well liked in the NASCAR
Well,
circles.
well, we talked about when our draft on Michael's competitiveness. You give Michael in any sort of
No,
competitive thing, he's going to find a way to get there. So I don't know why people are shocked. I mean, I get it because it's NASCAR and it wasn't his thing, but I mean, dude's from North Carolina. That's NASCAR's home, man. Michael knows a thing or two about getting out
he's
on the track.
always
I'm
loved it.
sure.
Brad Doherty is the one that started it up. And I remember having Brad Doherty's rookie card, and then I've seen him in NASCAR and fit in. I wouldn't even think like, hey, that's a black dude in NASCAR. It was like, no, that's just a dude that loves NASCAR.
Mhm.
And I'm slowly turning that way with Jordan. I love the fact that he does have a 45 car and a 23 car. I
Well,
think
in that case, since you have enlightened me, I will apologize to Robert Griffin III. He still annoys the shit out of me the way he posts everything and makes everything racial. But in this case, maybe he wouldn't. I just assume because everything he posts is that
he's not
way.
as bad as that other guy. What's the Clark? Ryan Clark.
Ryan Clark,
I
yeah,
think
Ryan Clark
that's
and Jamel Hill. Ooh,
they're too far. Robert Griffin III would post a few things that I'm like, "Okay, that makes sense. I get it," because 'cause he's
Man,
got a white
everything I
wife, I
see,
think.
he's fallen down that rabbit hole and try to make everything racial, but
Let's
I know
hope
he's a
not.
follower of Christ, so I give him credit for that.
Yeah, well, listen, I don't know, but the World Baseball Classic's coming up. I'm pretty jazzed about that. What do you think the chances of the USA team? I need to
I
go
think it
look at their
depends on how
roster.
seriously they take it.
I think it's gonna be serious. I think they're getting into it. I saw that Ozzy and, Acuna already going back and forth at it, which is pretty damn hilarious. I love seeing that.
Yeah, I mean, it gets back to I would like that. I mean, I'd love for, for the Olympics to get back to where they're even more competitive and us to have
Yes.
more of these national things. Because I mean, there's again, I don't think there's anything wrong with national pride. I wish more people had a little bit more of it. I mean, it can be, like competition can be friendly, but still fun and still very, very competitive and
Well,
very, very serious.
baseball's a perfect like, football when it came to, like, the Pro Bowl and things like that, you can't take it serious because 'cause you're talking about
Sean
major
Taylor did.
injury. Major injury can happen. Yeah, boy. God almighty, he drilled that dude. I can watch that clip over and over, by the way. Relation that's almost like Pete Rose in the All-Star game when he ran over the catcher.
Yeah.
But baseball, you can kinda play hard and still be somewhat safe. So I think that's what makes the All-Star game great. But you do gotta go back to your own damn jerseys. Don't give me this national team and American team, National League, American League jerseys all in one. Give me the full uniforms of the players. I like that. Like the Braves
I do
guys
too.
in the Braves uniform, that kinda deal. But I think they got Aaron Judge, Schwarber, I think's on the USA team, Kershaw's playing, Bryce Harper, Cal Riley. Like, I'm jazzed, dude. I can't wait. I might go get me a USA baseball hat.
Yeah, I look forward to watching it. It's always a fun thing, and I think this year, especially for the American team and our hopes of possibly winning things, just boil down to how well the pitching holds up.
But boy, did you see Otani taking BP the other day? Looking like he's barely swinging it and he's knocking off the damn second deck.
Enjoy what you're watching, folks. You may never see it again.
Son of a bitch, he's good. Just effortless. But the Braves are looking good before they had to go for World Baseball Classic. They bombed a bunch of home runs the other day against the Red Sox, excuse me. Cunha hit one, I think, the new guy, Yaz, hit 2. So,
Hmm.
good times. But that's it for the show, guys. Thanks for following. Thanks for sharing. Look, hit the little button that says notify you or download you every time we do it. Even if you just have it playing and put your phone down, just give us some listens. We'd appreciate it all. Find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeart, YouTube. We're trying to come up on YouTube. We're trying to get a few watches. Click all that. We appreciate all the love and all the support.
If you have enough common sense to know that listening to us is an absolute asinine waste of your time, then by all means skip our episode, but tell 3 other people to listen. That's even better.
Exactly. Greg, I appreciate that. Greg, anything else before we go?
Just the usual, my man. Get in your Bible, say your prayers, and be good to each other.
Peace, guys. Thank you.